Welcome to the A to Z of Virtua Fighter, a series where we try to get to know the complicated world of Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown, one letter at a time. And how could we not kick this off in the A slot with Abare? From the Japanese word abareru, apologies if I've butchered the pronunciation there,
Abareru
means to act violently. Abare is most often used to describe an opponent choosing to attack when it's not their turn, or attacking from a disadvantage. The topic of turn taking comes up at some point in most fighting games. If you're on the offense and commit to something that's quite rewarding, then there's a good chance that there's some kind of punishment coming your way if the opponent successfully avoids it. For example, if the opponent successfully blocks your attack, often they will recover before you do, and it's their turn to attack. You can attack if you want, but because they can attack sooner, there's a good chance that you're going to get hit with that dreaded counter hit enunciator, and before your eyes, a third of your life bar is going to melt away into oblivion. For this reason, in a lot of games, turn taking is taken quite seriously. If you successfully hit the opponent, you keep hitting them. If they block or dodge, it's your turn to be defensive, and it's frowned upon to deviate from that, unless you want to lose faster. Virtua Fighter is, at its core, an extremely fast-paced and aggressive game, however. And while you can bend those rules to some degree in most fighting games, in Virtua Fighter, with the right mindset, you can throw them out the window altogether. If the opponent blocks Akira's jab here, since it's a duckable and low damage attack, Akira isn't made to lose his turn like he is for other moves. It's low risk, it's low reward, so there's no punishment for getting it blocked. In fact, he's +2, so he actually gets to hit the opponent again, only this time he can do it 2 frames faster than they can. This means Akira has a few options. 1, he can choose to hit the opponent again, safely with another jab, and continue to keep his turn. 2, he can choose a heavier, slower attack, up to 2 frames slower, and still know that his attack will win. This time with a bigger reward, although on the other side, if it does get blocked this time, he'll lose his turn since he's made a bigger bet. This is fundamentally how risk and reward works in all fighting games. There is, however, a third option. Akira can choose to go for a much slower move. The jab has already made the opponent block, so if they continue to block, Akira has all the time in the world, not just those bonus 5 frames. And since they're blocking, why not get a massive reward, like a guard break? This in itself is a form of Abare. Akira can play hyper-aggressively here, irrespective of his frame advantage. However, the most significant Abare here is how the opponent responds. If you choose to only take your turn when it's officially your turn, in accordance with the frame data, often referred to as moral in Virtua Fighter, there's nothing stopping Akira from doing that option 1 and jabbing you all the way over to the edge, or option 3 and hitting you with cold hard disrespect for playing the game morally. Akira only has to respect the frame data if you give him a reason to. So you look around at the systems in Virtua Fighter, and you'll see that your own disrespect and Abare is how you're going to do it. So in scenario 1, if Akira hits you with a jab, it's still their turn, but this low risk approach has one huge weakness. It's a high attack. So even though he's faster than you, a tactical low punch goes under the jab here. And even though it wasn't your turn, you've now stolen your turn back. This is one of the most common forms of Abare at all levels in Virtua Fighter, and comes with its own risks. But what matters here is that the frames aren't the full story, and it can be intelligent, not just scrubby, to press buttons out of your turn, so long as you're doing it for the right reasons. Similarly, in scenario 3, the opponent is disrespecting their own advantage, therefore they've left a gap for you to fit an attack into. It's not always something slow like this that you can react to, but perhaps it's something that lets you do something more impressive than just a crouching jab. So even on defense, with Abare, big bets mean bigger prizes. So Abare isn't always about jabbing. On top of this, you need to take loads of other things into account, such as sidestepping, jumping, backdashing, and some things that we'll hit later in this alphabet series like Sabaki and Anashi. For now though, get out there and disrespect your opponent so they have a reason to respect you. That's it for now. We'll be back tomorrow with B. I'll see you then.